Long time no see, folks. I think it's time today for a video, and what better subject than my server, the thing that seems to bring views to my channel, surprisingly. So I'm not going to do anything professional today. This is just kind of a vlog video to kind of get back in the swing of things, but I do have a CPU upgrade in line for my server today, although not a Xeon, so for those who are expecting something fancy, well, sorry, I hate to disappoint. But for a bit of a refresher, my server currently has a Celeron G4900 CPU in it with 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. So nothing fancy, but certainly functional. But I have run into a few different occasions where the CPU performance is not very good. For obvious reasons. I mean, Celeron's not really meant to be a high-performance server chip, much less a high-performance desktop chip. So what can you do, right? So I figure I got a chip from work that they weren't using, and so I'll have a better spot for it here in my server. So that's the point of today's video. We're just going to slap my phone on the tripod here, assuming it stays intact, and we'll upgrade the server with a new CPU. So first I gotta get it shut down. It doesn't really matter about the reason because I don't really care for that stuff. Anyways, off you go. And now I gotta go get the server buried out from its corner in the room, so that's gonna be fun. Alright, server is up off the floor. I'm gonna have to give this thing a good dusting too, goodness it's dirty. Anyways, time to get the old CPU ripped out. So, I also apologize in advance. This is a vlog, not necessarily a professional quality video, or not really my videos are professional to begin with, so forgive the background, it's gonna look absolutely horrible. I had no preparation plans for this video, I just wanted to get it done, so I'm sorry in advance. That's just how it is. Anyways, so, anyways, I'm out of the video making spirit for a little while. I've just had no motivation to really get stuff done, if you will. I have plenty of ideas. It's just the execution, like trying to get that stuff rounded up together. It's just been a kind of a pain in the butt because multiple reasons, really. Not the least of which is, of course, I'm trying to maintain a full-time schedule at the office, which is, mind you, I wake up at 6 in the morning every morning, give or take. I get to the office, I start my shift at 8, and I leave the office at 5. I don't normally get home until at least 6:30 at the soonest. Usually it's a little later, give or take on traffic and whatever else I'm doing in the evening when I get off work, whether it be selling something or buying something or whatever. And then I don't really have that much time in the evening, which I usually spend with some friends in the Discord server just to kind of chill out for the rest of the evening before I end up going to bed and rinsing and repeating the same thing the next day, 5 days a week. And you can imagine how that already in and of itself is taxing enough. But there's also on top of that, I've been helping out the family because it's winter time, so my mom needed help with winterizing a little bit of her trailer out of her house, so that took a good chunk out of my day, one of my days. So I haven't had the chance to work on cleaning, if you haven't been able to tell. I only really did the bare minimum, so it wouldn't look like a complete hoarder show, which, to be fair, it probably is, and I wouldn't deny you for calling it that. And then on top of that, there's a bunch of other stuff too that I could probably go on about, but to keep it simple, man, I've just been hella busy. I have not had the time, and when I do have the time, I just don't have the motivation because I'm usually tired. And I know the whole rigmarole that I've said and others have said where YouTube shouldn't be your priority, make your life your priority, and absolutely that's true here. But man, I just want to make videos every once in a while, you know what I mean? It'd just be nice to put at least something out every once in a while, but I don't have the time, because just this morning alone, like I went to bed after I played games with the guys at night, and I think I didn't wake up till like 10 o'clock or something, so that's like at least, gosh, like 9 hours of sleep straight, and I didn't get out of bed till afternoon because I was just that tired. And that's kind of what I was trying to get on about, was just, I'm just so tired when I get done with my work week that I just want to sleep. But then I've got so many other things to do, it's like I can't sleep. So it's a never-ending rigmarole, so I guess welcome to adulthood. So yeah, it'll probably be like a rolling eye sequence for those who know the regime by now and are probably just like, would you shut up and get on with the rest of the video already? But I'm elaborating because I haven't made a video in a month. I want some justification for it. And I also kind of feel bad for not making a video for so long. So you're welcome. You're going to sit through this. high quality content, whether you like it or not. That's what you came here for, and if you don't like it, well, then there's other videos to progress to. But I just have not had motivation really to do much. It's just been tiring, really. I don't think I need to take this fan off. I think I just need to take the heatsink off. Yeah, that should be fine. I want to get this connector out of here. How do I do that? Dell, in their infinite wisdom, have implemented a locking fan connector, and I'd rather not break it. Is there like some kind of tab I'm missing, maybe? I don't actually know. Nope. I guess there was, in some way. I thought it was these bits that were the connector. Oh, I guess they're not. Okay, well, whatever. Doesn't matter too much. But yeah. So it's just been the work schedule on top of whenever I actually do get the time, it's usually helping out the family or doing other things, which just leads to me not having the time for myself. And then it's right back into the work week, which means that I just don't have the time. And then I don't feel motivated to get stuff done in the evenings anyway, because I only have like a couple of hours at the most if I'm lucky. So I don't want to elaborate on it too much longer, but needless to say, I've just been out of it for making videos for at least a little while. I just needed a bit of a mental refresh, if you will. So we'll see if I get back into the swing of things. I don't know for sure. I'm probably going to cut back on doing the Discord voice chats to try to put some more effort into making videos, because it's been a little dry, I'll admit, and I kind of miss doing the video thing. And I'm sure that you all miss watching some of the content too, especially considering I had that recycling PC saving dealio from work. That was really fun to do. So not that I'm going to do that again, it's just I want to kind of get back into the swing of things with the hardware I've got and try to get up some content for the holidays so that we all have something to watch. If you're fans of my channel, that is. And of course, I know not a lot of people are going to watch a vlog like this because it's highly super rambly, if you haven't noticed. So yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, so here's the old CPU after much rambling. This is the Celeron G4900 that this was ordered with when it was new from Dell, running Linux, unironically. Not a very impressive server back when it was new, because everything that was in here other than the storage, which I had to rip out for obvious reasons, was basically factory equipment. But today, if I can get out of that ESD bag here, we're going to upgrade it with this Core i3-8100. This is a supported upgrade on this server, as long as you're not using ECC memory, which this server obviously is not running ECC memory because, well, let's just face it, it was running the Celeron, so that wouldn't have worked anyway. But this will give me 4 cores and 4 threads compared to the 2 cores and 2 threads of the Celeron, and it'll also give me a little bit more clock speed to work with, because I think the Celeron was a 3.1 gigahertz. I'll have to go back and watch the footage, but this one's 3.6 gigahertz, so it'll give me a little bit more clock speed to work with and whatnot. Let's see if I can rearrange the camera. I don't think so. I just need to clean off the heatsink of all the thermal paste and whatnot. But I'll probably do some more rambling about some stuff here as I'm working on it, because I'm going to make this a fully featured video after all, since I'm going through the effort to getting it done. Alright, I apologize, you're not going to get a very good view of this, but I would rather not have my $1,200 phone flying off the tripod because it's broken right now, and I'm too cheap to go buy another one, so we're making do with what I've got until I can, well, bother to get myself to buy a new one. So it is what it is. I guess gotta get my cotton swabs out here, and then get myself out a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to start cleaning this. So anyways, so as far as what I've wanted to make videos about for a while, I figured this is something I'll ramble about for a bit. I've gotten like tons of hardware stashed around here at my house. Not just in my room, but stuff that's been sitting out in my trailer. So I just don't have a shortage of actual content that I could work on, because I've got like plenty of laptops and desktops, and I've had some ideas in the works now for a little while that I've really wanted to implement. Like there was a video I had in mind where I was going to specifically look at a bunch of old AMD APU based laptop computers, and to see if the this is just for fun really, but just to see how they would perform in some games, like the videos I used to make when I was back in my college dorm. I know that I did a few of those, but I used to use Dell Optiplex business class desktops, which I've mostly gotten rid of those, other than the I think I have my Optiplex 780 mini tower that I saved for my dorm room. I made like one good unit, and then I pretty much sold off the rest, or tried to sell off the rest that I could when I got back home. There's a surprising bit of dust around the socket here, so I'm going to try to see if I can clean it up a bit too while I'm at it, although I'm going to mainly focus on cleaning the CPU IHS, because cleaning off the rest of the motherboard isn't going to really make that much of a difference, really. So there was that video in mind. Try to like maybe run Windows 11 on all of them, just as a bit of a test, just to see if they'd be really any good. I mean, who's to say? I think there was a couple other things I was going to do. There was a video I had in mind that originally got shoved in my head. That never really came to fruition either, but I was going to try running Forza Horizon 5 on some older, I can't even speak really. More coffee, please. Run it on some bare minimum hardware. Although that ended up changing because, of course, when Microsoft released the minimum requirements for Horizon 5, my PC ended up not fitting the bill. It ended up basically being the minimum requirements for Horizon 4 or something like that. Maybe a slight difference on the graphics, but also it didn't help that around the time of Horizon 5's launch, NVIDIA was dropping support for GTX 600 and 700 series cards from any future game-ready driver updates. They'd still get security updates, but that just meant that if any new games came out, NVIDIA was not obligated to write any drivers for those cards that was game-ready. So effectively, they got end-of-lifed by NVIDIA, and that was that. So that ended up not really working out too well. I still tried it anyway, just for laughs. I actually installed Horizon 5 on that PC, and what ended up happening was I was actually able to get it to run kind of, sort of, although it was kind of capped to 30 FPS at 1366 by 768, but it was still an interesting project nonetheless. I showed that off in a voice chat in my Discord server, which of course I think only one or two other people watched the stream to, but even still, I had a lot of fun with that. And not to mention, I've been doing a lot of other stuff on my Discord server, which, of course, there's no obligation for you to join if you don't want to. I just like to make that recommendation every once in a while because it would be nice to have some new people join. But anyways, going on from that, so I've been doing some other stuff regarding game testing. We've been playing a bunch of games in the Discord server. We usually frequent GTA Online, Forza Horizon, we frequent Uno. There's a few other different games that we frequent, and some nights it's a lot more fun than others. It just depends ultimately on what's going on. We've been having a lot of issues with Horizon 5 being buggy, which has been kind of unfortunate, but, you know, not much I can really do. I'm not a game developer, so it kind of is what it is. And kind of makes wanting to work on videos, sure, a heck of a lot less motivating, isn't it? Because I get so distracted with games, and you can kind of see where I kind of just don't want to work on stuff. First world problems, absolutely, you betcha. I will open up wholeheartedly to that kind of issue. Oh my god, this alcohol is not really that great. I have 70% isopropyl. I really should have 99%, but I was bought this 70% bottle, so you know what, I'm not going to let it go to waste. It just sucks because you have to keep using it and using it and using it to get the desired effect. And what often ends up happening is you got to keep scrubbing at heat sinks forever because the water and the dilution of the alcohol doesn't really help when you're cleaning heat sinks. Anyways, I digress. So, yeah. I'm trying to remember what some other video ideas I had in mind were. I was trying to remember. I think I've got, like, you might be able to see that beige box there. That might be a video in and of itself I want to make. It's got some really cool hardware in it. I think last night, as of the making of this video, I was trying to fix the heatsink because it was stupid Intel pushpin glory. My favorite heatsinks, not really. But I did get that machine to post. I just need to get a better storage solution for it because right now it's got some 40 gigabyte SATA hard drive that's currently suffering from a failure. It's about to go out, but I wanted to use it just to test with an operating system install or whatever. But it's a pretty bad drive because I tried to install Windows Vista on it. It basically corrupted the out-of-box experience, which meant that the whole system was all screwed up. No permissions, so you couldn't run any application installers because there's no admin account because it was disabled. Weird little quirks like that. I tried Windows 7, and Windows 7 just kind of hung after the out-of-box experience, probably because the hard drive was about ready to just give up life. So I need to arrange a better storage solution. I mean, I've got SSDs somewhere, I'm sure. Not to the same extent like Drago 1 probably, but, you know, I've got a couple I could probably use, but I've just been mainly sticking to where I just don't care about stuff, which is mainly the mechanical hard drives, but I gotta get some more of those arranged too, and I've also got systems I could probably rip drives out of if I really cared enough. So I'm just putting that one on the side. I'll probably get back to it this weekend. I'd like to do a video on it, but, you know, it is what it is. And then some more elaboration on stuff that people probably won't care about because, of course, they have probably turned off this video. My video scenery has kind of changed a bit because of the winter, so I don't have access to the garage where I would normally be filming my videos on the table or whatever because my grandma's car has got to go in the garage in the wintertime. So we basically had to pack all that stuff up and out. And so I just don't have a spot to record videos in my room other than right here on this little table with my broken phone tripod. It just doesn't help. And I can't really film out in the kitchen because most of the time my grandma's out there. So it would either be I'm recording probably very late at night or I film in here, and that's about all I've got access to. So that also doesn't help when trying to make videos because I have literally no place to record videos. I don't have a studio. I don't have a place to record in my office because I'm usually sitting in front of a computer answering phone calls and emails for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, typically. So, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. I'm not complaining. It's just how it is. And, you know, on the YouTube side, I am kind of complaining because I wish I would have a better setup. But, you know, it is what it is. And I know somebody's probably going to be commenting in the comment section about, oh, you need to get this sort of kit for removing thermal paste. Yeah, you know what also works? Isopropyl alcohol and a lot of scrubbing because I'm too cheap to buy stuff and I don't really care too much. Seriously, it doesn't matter. As long as your metals are clean and they don't have leftover thermal paste on them, generally it's fine. And isopropyl alcohol is perfectly adequate for that. It's not the greatest. Like I said, I have 70%, so it takes a little bit of extra time, but it is what it is. And I'm especially taking my time because I want my server to kind of be a little bit reliable, but, you know, because I've also been having some weirdness with it crashing, and so I have to manually reach over and power it off and power it back on, and then it comes back up like, nothing ever happened. It's like really strange. So I'm going to see if there's some kind of driver problem or if it's a firmware update I can apply on something that's, you know, something I'll look into. Not going to go too crazy over it, but, you know, it's whatever. I think we got everything basically cleaned up. But yeah, I did some other things too, just kind of rambling some more. I've done some more crazy projects. Like I ran Windows 11 on a Cedar Mill Pentium 4, so that was kind of fun. I remember doing that one, and I was going to do a video on it, but I just ran out of motivation once again to record, and so that never actually made it into a video. I recorded footage for it, mind you. I did, and I never finished it. So yeah, shame on me. I also want to finish doing the Optiplex 3020 video, the budget gaming thing. I have that PC in here. I don't think you can see it on the frame, no, at the moment anyway. And so I'm going to try to concentrate on doing the thermal paste here. But in any case, so I got that PC. I'm going to probably see if I can get that done. I got to check if there's any game updates. I had another idea in mind of some old HP pre-builts that I saved from work as well, just for funsies. I had a burp there mid-talking through my sentence, sorry about that. And, well, a project I would love to continue working on, it's just don't have the time. And these are old systems, so the relevancy is basically nil. Although I know people who come to watch my channel really don't care. They come to watch that content anyway. But, you know, I kind of have to divert my efforts where they should be, which is usually taking care of myself. First world problems. But yeah, it's just been a never-ending cycle of trying to find stuff to do, and then whenever I actually want to get it done, then life comes crashing back down. It's like, oh, hey, you got to do this instead because it's way more important. And then if I don't get it done, I'm going to get screamed at anyway because it didn't get done because my mom couldn't find somebody else to do this stuff for her. And there's just drama on top of drama on top of drama on top of drama. Not to mention I get drama living here at my grandma's house to begin with. But I'm not going to go into that because that's none of y'all's business. Anyways. So we'll get this thing wrapped up here and then see if we can get this server to come back online. I have some plans of wanting to experiment a little bit with Windows Server Update services, although I'm not making a video out of it. I'm just kind of rambling about it right here. And the reason why is because I've got a lot of XP, Vista, 2000 PCs, and probably Server 2003 VMs to come in the future, probably for older Active Directory domains for my older PCs for funsies, just as a bit of a experimentation thing. And I want to be able to run updates on these products, but of course I can't because the Microsoft SHA-1 download thing has long since been, well, the SHA-1 downloads have long since been shut down. Hell, I don't remember when they were doing it. I think they did it late 2020 or something like that. Either way, so I'd like to set up a server to which it's not going to be perfect, no, but I'm going to see if I can archive as many updates as I can on my RAID array. And so far, that's been, at least as far as the setup goes, it's been excellent. I got all the updates from Microsoft's directly attached or directly downloadable servers. So I've basically got every update that I could imagine, at least as far as Windows updates, security updates, and whatnot, for 2000 XP, XP 64-bit, Server 2003, Server 2008, and an R2, I think, and stuff like that. So, you know how it goes. Hang on one second. Anyways, got interrupted, so now I'm back at it. But yeah, that's the idea for this thing. Other than being a file server, other than being the thing that hosts my Windows deployment services for older versions of Windows, as well as Windows 11, which you have to do a roundabout method because Microsoft kind of indirectly cut off Windows deployment services support, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. And on top of that, of course, what else was there? Yeah, then the Windows Server Update services and other uses. So Windows 2019 Essentials is actually pretty powerful for what it is, and it'll still have all the functionality that I need it for. Because like I said, I don't really care about needing virtual machine access. If I really cared about that stuff too much, then I would use some kind of third-party solution like VirtualBox if I really needed to, which doesn't really matter anyway. But especially now, I've got 2 more CPU cores to play with, which will definitely help with the performance of the server. And in the future, I was actually considering upgrading the RAM. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to go with, but I would like to go at least 16 gigs of RAM. I might also, depending on how much it costs, I think an Essentials license for Windows Server is still going to cost about $500, which is kind of a lot of money. So I'm going to see if I still got like random licenses that I can access through my school account or whatever, like my old college account. Probably do. We'll see. But we'll see about upgrading this to Server 2022 or whatever. I don't know. I'll see about rounding that up. I'll see if Dell actually has a BIOS update, which will add support for Server 2022 inside of the BMC and the other stuff, update the drivers and such. Although, I guess if they don't, it really doesn't matter, because Server 2019 and Server 2022 are going to be virtually identical anyway. It's just Windows 10. It's just a newer release. I would like to have 21H2 on this thing, have native Microsoft Edge built in instead of having to deal with Internet Explorer. And I think there's some other useful benefits to running a newer version of Windows 10, basically, on server hardware. But 1809's been great. It's been lightweight. It's been responsive. No complaints, really. So I might just leave it on here for now, because it's absolutely rock solid stable, assuming it doesn't flake out like it's been doing sometimes, where it just randomly hangs up and I have to turn it off, turn it back on. But that's just the server. It's not necessarily a fault of Windows. So I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to figure that out off camera. Either way, CPU upgrade is done, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this down on the floor. But actually, before I do, I'm going to grab a monitor. I want to test this out here on the test jig, make sure that it comes up, because normally I have this run headless, which is a probably fair idea. And I also want to troubleshoot something that's been going on. I've noticed on the motherboard, at night I can see when this thing's flashing like some really bright orange light inside the case for something. Even though it doesn't flash orange out here on the little indicator, I don't know what's going on, so I'm going to see if I can figure that out off camera as well before I permanently put this thing back on the floor. But yeah, the RAM upgrade is probably destined for the future. The stick of RAM that's in there, I think, actually, instead of trying to assume, I can just pull up the cover. I want to say it's like 2666 megahertz. Yeah. So the Celeron couldn't actually take advantage of the 2666 megahertz memory before. I think it was limited to 2400 megahertz. I don't really care. So, I mean, if I really did care, I could throw this stick of RAM in here, this crucial 2400 megahertz stick, but it's mismatched. Not only is it a Micron stick versus a Samsung stick, but it's also the wrong speed. And again, I'm not really interested in having people commenting about the fact that I have mismatched RAM in my server, although I really, well and truly do not care, because it'll probably work. It's my server. I want it to be reliable, so you know what I mean. Ideally, I would like to have a Xeon in this thing and ECC memory, so that way that doesn't actually happen. But, man, I tell you what, Intel server stuff is expensive as hell. And I just, like I said, I'm too cheap. So I bought an i3 from my work because they're going to basically throw it out otherwise. So, well, they weren't going to throw it out, obviously. It was a good processor. But I voluntarily bought it because I was like, I definitely for sure have a use for this case. Because I wanted to get a better CPU for my server rather than having to use this Celeron, which has worked fine. It absolutely does work fine. It's just... when you go to extract things, it takes forever because it maxes out the 2 cores of that Celeron virtually instantly. So there's not a lot of horsepower on the CPU side of things. So this will be a huge step up. Anyways, rambling aside, I'm going to get this thing hooked back up and we'll power it up. Alright, camera's probably going to be throwing focus all over the place before I turn this thing on, so I might as well get it going sooner rather than later. So, time to power on the server. And it is probably not going to be happy with me, but we'll find out here shortly. No encryption is being used, so I don't have to worry about BitLock or any security keys like that, so we should be alright. Yeah, I'm going to check to see if there's a BIOS update. See if everything is all good to go. Because, I mean, it's a good sign it's posting, so that's not just already an awesome sign. Probably going to have to, like, plug in a separate Ethernet switch or something to have to connect to the iDRAC, so I don't have to... Well, I mean, I can always just leave it in the BIOS setup. I could connect to the iDRAC over the network and then just flash a BIOS update to it that way. I've done that before. It's kind of cumbersome because my network's really small, but it's really not that hard to do. You just send a BIOS update over the network to it, and then it'll just flash it. It's actually really easy to do once you have the IP address and you can log into the GUI. It's pretty easy, but come on, server, initialize your iDRAC. You're taking too long. I'm just giving it crap. Yeah, this thing usually starts up faster than this, and you all know this because of my server build video, but whenever you have a full shutdown, it usually takes a good minute or two to get off the setup, or the BIOS rather, whatever you prefer to call it, the UEFI, or the Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. Because we're really technical. I just want to take a quick trip into the system setup here. Well, actually, yeah, that'll be fine. Because I was thinking like maybe I'd go into the lifecycle controller, but I'm not planning to run a BIOS update. I just wanted to check the hardware, which I should be able to do, I think, if I remember this correctly. I don't know. System information. Oh no, that's right. That doesn't tell me much of anything. Yep, 3.6 gigahertz. You can restrict the number of cores, but in this case, I'm going to leave all 4 on. Logical processor idling. That's interesting. It's a collaborative interface between platform and operating system that helps to improve the energy efficiency. You know, actually, I might leave that on because that might actually be pretty useful. Yep, there it is. Intel Core i3 8100 CPU. It's got a lot more level 3 cache. A lot more level 3 cache. Also, before anybody calls us out, because I'm sure somebody's going to, 6.9. Nice. Alright, anyways, enough of my immaturity here. Make sure the memory's running at its right speed. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it does mention that 2400 megahertz is what it's running at, but yeah, so I guess technically speaking, I could throw the stick of RAM in there, but like I said, I'm not going to because I want it to be stable. I was surprised that it's only running at 2400 megahertz. I would have figured that maybe it would have ran it at 2666, but I guess that's just a thing of this server. I guess the chipset is limiting it to 2400 megahertz, which is totally fine. I don't expect high performance out of this thing. I just expect it to work and be stable. Alright, so now comes the moment of truth. Will Windows Server boot up off the SSD now? I hope it does, because that was a lot of work to get the damn thing unburied from underneath the thing here on the floor. So probably going to be stuck here waiting for a bit. it usually gets stuck on this initializing iDRAC because I don't have an Ethernet cable connected to it. So it just kind of sits here and does its thing because it can't really properly initialize. But that usually only occurs once when you first power up the server from a power outage or whatever. So it's not that bad.
Alright. Let's get this shit. Any minute now, it should be booting up though.
Replace part detected for device. Yep. There it goes. Hey. Hey-o. There we go. Hey. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
SSD is by no means the fastest part of the system. In fact, I'm sure that the RAID array is faster than this SSD, but it only needs to hold the OS, so it doesn't actually contain any of the storage information. It just contains the operating system, and once it's booted up, it's usually pretty responsive. And hey, just like that, we are up. Beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Wait, what's it doing? Is it, adjusting the monitor? Oh, it was adjusting the monitor resolution. How about that? Well, that's right. I did install the video driver on this thing, so I'm surprised it actually did that on the fly. Anyways, let's just make sure that this logs in. There we go. Very nice. I am going to make sure that Windows doesn't make me reboot for some driver or something. It doesn't look like it has yet. And it should see all 4 cores. It sure seems like it does. Beauty. Very nice. It already seems like it's much faster than with the Celeron in it, because it wasn't slow, mind you. It was usable. Just one of the fastest thing out there. Oh, well, Microsoft Defender antivirus. Well, I can wait. I'll install that later. Yeah, just a kind of a quick thing here. I'll just show you around. Here's Windows deployment services. I use this feature the most out of my server, other than it being a file server. Like, this has been the most useful thing I've ever used on Windows Server, probably, other than the file services and Active Directory and stuff like that. Like, this is legit, like, something I've used quite a bit, and it's not perfect, but it's fantastic for what I use it for, which is just running vanilla Windows install images. Granted, of course, you could do that with some other solutions, I know, but I just like the ease of use of doing it the Windows way, because it's just a lot easier to manage, in my opinion. Now, your opinions might vary, of course, and I'm sure, again, there's probably some other solutions, but I just use what I use because it works. But yeah, I'm going to work on getting this snap-in set up for this Windows Server update services. I'm probably not going to do a video on this. This is just going to be behind-the-scenes thing for me, but it would be a fun project to dive into, because I'm really looking to archive some older Windows updates and make it to where it's a lot easier to patch older computers. Not that I intend to use them on the internet, I just feel better about patching them so that way they have all the latest features and updates and stuff, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, so far so good. I'll have to stress test this thing and make sure it's stable, but I have pretty high hopes that this will work. This is a fairly brand new processor, but basically never used, so I think we'll be on the up and up with this thing. It should be all good to go. Didn't know what else to say there, so I kind of just hesitated. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up this video. It's already long enough. I've done enough rambling, so hopefully you all enjoyed. I'm going to try to get back in the swing of making videos. No guarantees, of course, but I'll see what I can do, because I would like to get back into the swing of things, but we'll have to see. I do have a couple of things I feel really motivated to make videos about. I have one laptop that I think y'all would really, really enjoy. I got it recently, and it is totally fantastic. It's in great shape. It's got some awesome things about it, so I can't wait to show it to you all. I'm trying to hype up something that's probably not going to ever come until like the next month or whatever, so sorry. I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but in any case, so yeah, that'll wrap it up for now. So hopefully you all like what you saw, and if you did, well, there you know what to press. If you didn't like it so much, well, then you also know what to press, although, to be fair, I guess that's kind of irrelevant these days with YouTube. They broke the dislike counter. Anyways, I digress. If you want to see more stuff just like this, or perhaps some actual better quality videos that I normally would make, then the subscribe button is down below. You can click that, and also click the bell so you don't miss when I upload new videos in the future, especially if I take 1 month hiatuses at a time. And with that having been said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you very much for coming to watch.